You're listening to episode 45 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with Peter Riggio.
In India, they call it nectar from the gods.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hand, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. So here's a little bit about Peter Riggio. He was an entrepreneur since age 20. He found success in electronic merchandise, internet marketing, and health and nutrition. In the 1990s, he established more success in the field of general contracting, later noted as an award-winning builder. In 2009, by utilizing his networking and leadership skills, Peter recruited a group of professionals from the sports and entertainment industries to create exclusive celebrity events connecting to various causes. In addition, Peter co-founded Pomeroy Equitable Solutions, Swipe for the Kids, and the Quipley platform that provided sustainable funding solutions that benefit schools, clubs, and youth organizations while following the highest code of ethics. In March 2016, Peter was introduced to Dr. Stuart Titus and the benefits of CBD. After watching his sister eliminate a 22-year chronic illness with the use of CBD, Peter's focus turned towards helping others understand the potential benefits. Earlier in 2017, Peter joined forces with Dr. Billy Demoss on a collective mission to help as many people as possible with CBD. And with the assistance of Dr. Stuart Titus, they were able to put together the Innate CBD line, which we are selling at Lifestyle Locker Radio and lifestylelocker.com. So this CBD is the highest quality product for the chiropractic community and everyone else. Overall, their mission is simple: to give people the proper fuel to align the body and allow it to heal itself. So without further ado, here is Peter Riggio. All right, welcome, Peter. Welcome to Lifestyle Locker Radio. We are very excited to have you here. This topic is hot right now, CBDs. And for those of you who don't know what that is, we're going to get into it in a second. So welcome.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Very, very excited to have you, Peter. So let's hear a little bit of your backstory so we can kind of dive into this topic. Just tell us a little bit about you and how you got involved with CBD.
Sure. I've been working with health and nutrition since the early 90s. But because I was kind of real way forward here, having a real interest in health and nutrition and being very much involved in it, after that, I got introduced to CBD because a friend of my wife's was going through some really terrible back pain, and I began to search the internet to find out, what could we do to help her. And through the course of that, I kept running into CBD as this anti-inflammatory, and I was going, wow, there's something to this. At that particular time, a friend called me from Arizona and asked me if I knew anything about CBD. And I said, wow, just looking that up and seeing some amazing things, he began to share a few things that were happening within his family and friends. And one thing led to another. I got my hands on some CBD, gave it to my wife's friend. She called back reporting that she was feeling much better with her back and out in her garden working, which she hadn't done in several months. And so from there, I said, hey, I want to know everything. And so the first person I thought of that was really going through a tough time was my younger sister, who's had a very difficult time for 22 years with a debilitating disease called RSD. And I was able to introduce her to CBD. She took a very healthy serving size of it and called me within 24 hours stating that she felt immediate relief from the sensitivity pain that's associated with this particular illness. And so long story short, then I really dove in. I wanted to just take it to the next level. And a friend of mine down in Southern California plays drums. He knew Billy Demoss and had a conversation with him about CBD because he was using some CBD from me. And we put the two of us together. And then now we have this amazing brand, Innate. And so that's kind of how it came about. I would consider that most of the story. I did get to meet the head PhD doctor, Dr. Stuart Titus, and picked his brain, and he was able to put things together for Billy from the manufacturing side. And so here we are today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So,
And that's a short version,
no,
Josh, by the way.
that's
A short
perfect.
version.
We want a good short version because we
Yeah.
want to dive into this content because
Yeah.
first of
Yeah,
all, some of the
sure.
people listening right now are going, okay, I'm listening. What the hell is CBD? So let's
Yeah.
give us a little bit of what is CBD? Like, where does it come from? Because people are, this is where it's going to kind of get a little interesting for people. Go for it.
It's naturally occurring in hemp, but it's also found in echinacea, hops, common tea, flax. They all have some CBD in it, but it's particularly abundant in hemp. Where like in marijuana, you see it's very abundant in THC.
Yeah.
Hemp is extremely low in THC to the point of, it doesn't really register, and plus it's non-psychoactive because it's never been superheated. But in hemp, it's found in abundance, and that's where it comes from. Cannabidiol is a portion of the plant. There's over 500 plant materials in the plant. There's about 80 different cannabidiols found in the plant. And these all work and interact with our largest regulatory system, the endocannabinoid system. And I know we'll be talking about that because that's what we're feeding when we take cannabinoids.
Okay, so good. So this comes from the hemp plant,
Yes.
which kind of gets a bad rap, right?
Yeah.
And do you have? I mean, I don't know if you know, but do you know the history of like hemp was, I believe, pretty widely used in the history of the United States, right?
Well, I mean, our Constitution is printed on hemp paper.
Okay.
It was a required crop in the early days. You had to, like by law, to use a certain portion of your land agriculturally for hemp. Hemp was found in every little place that you could go in and buy a medicine. Or, I'm using the word medicine, but they were in tinctures, and people would use them from everything from stomach problems to headaches to all different sorts of things. And it had a tremendous reported, positive effect. In fact, in India, they call it nectar from the gods. And so it's just given overall feeling of well-being. And so it makes sense that it would eventually become where it is today. Unfortunately, it's had a rocky road in there with people that wanted to bring down hemp production because of it's much more cost efficient than paper. And so you had some individuals that were looking to kind of stomp it out because they didn't want to compete against it because it produced a better product and they didn't have their hands on it.
Yeah, isn't that
so
wild?
That's kind of a quick mouthful.
Yeah,
it really is.
But it's crazy. Yeah. We have this amazing product that's produced by the planet, right? Not by man. And now we're trying to strip it from people having it. And I'm glad it's kind of come full circle, even though how many 100 years did it probably take to get to where it is today again. So health wise, I want to get into a little bit of the nerdy science here because CBD or the hemp plant, you said it interacts with I want to say this may be wrong, but endocannabinoid system, ECS. Did I say it right?
That's right.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
so the endocannabinoid,
that's right.
Awesome. So the ECS system, we'll use that in short, so I don't stumble over my words too much today. Is from what I've read, and I want you to dive a little more, is kind of directly linked, because I'm a chiropractor, directly linked to the central nervous system, which is the master control system of the human body. So this is really neat for me to hear and maybe even share with other chiropractors, but the rest of the planet. So can you tell us a little more about like the ECS, what it's connected to, what it can help with? Yeah, go.
Yeah,
let's do this.
This is an exciting subject. Researchers found the endocannabinoid system. The scientists kind of searching and finding these receptor sites, but not really understanding the mechanism of action with those receptor sites. And what they did discover was there's more of these receptor sites to receive cannabidiol than any other or all other receptors in the body found. So they said this is not possible that this would be simply from an outside source if you've got all these receptors, because plenty of people might not consume hemp, echinacea, hops, or whatever. So why are all these receptors here? This is really important. This is an endogenous system in the body. And so it makes its own version of CBD. There's two versions within the body that are made. One is called andamine, and the other one is called 2-AG. 2-AG is one that you would, when you run or you're an athlete or you're in really good condition, that feeling of that you get overall well-being, that's 2-AG, and which is identical and the same as CBD. So it's the body's own endogenous version of CBD.
Okay, self-made.
Okay,
good.
Yeah, self-made. And andamine, interesting enough, is in the colostrum when a mother feeds her baby for the first time. And it's normally kind of degraded rapidly by the body simply because as you get older, you're not as young and stuff, and it's not as much produced in the body, but it's always protected when a woman is pregnant to deliver that first dose of andamine into the baby. And so that's really exciting. Okay, so that's the endogenous version. So this was a major discovery because now they saw that the body had its own action with those receptors, but it just wasn't getting enough of it. And of course, in today's society, we've got depletion of nutrients in our food and soil, a lot of radio waves and stresses and all these sort of things. So, we're really behind the eight ball, and it doesn't take a lot to send this system behind. Now, it's responsible for homeostasis. So when you feed the endocannabinoid system, its job is to bring the body into balance. If something's an invader in the body, it sends the immune system in. If something's happening, the spine or another area, it immediately directs attention to that. And it actually prioritizes. So it looks and says, okay, where's the highest priority in the body, and let's go after it and bring it into balance. And so the endocannabinoid system is remarkable. Again, it's the largest regulatory system in the body. There's more receptors in the body to receive cannabidiol than all of the receptors in the body combined. And for those that think that the hemp is an outside source, forget about it, because it's an inside source. And all we're doing is adding to that amazing system to give it all the fuel it needs to do its job.
That's awesome.
That's essentially it, yeah.
So with, I'll say it first, because I haven't said on the podcast, but I started taking, the product, the Innate hemp oil product. And since I've started taking it, I didn't particularly take it because, I was in pain or whatever it may be. I took it more of a supplement, right? And I'll tell you, my experience with it is my sleep has been a lot better, a lot deeper. I guess it's helping me. I run a couple of businesses, so the stress levels are tend to be a little higher, I guess, than most. But my sleep has been better. My exercise has been pretty consistent, but I feel like I'm maybe rebounding or responding a little bit better post-exercise. So I'm not feeling as fatigued or winded, if you will, the next day when I go and do it. So for me, it's amazing. But what things can, if the people listening go like, I may want to try some of this, or I want to look into this, what will it help with? You can give condition specific, or you can even give performance specific, or both. Sure.
Well, it's interesting. I heard a top researcher respond to that question in this way. He said, it's easier to explain what it doesn't do than it is to explain what it does do. So the key word to fall back onto, again, is homeostasis, right? So that's the body's ability to stay in balance. Mm-hmm. And so when you ask, what does it do? It goes to that area in which there's an imbalance. And so we've, I can't get into the medical claims because of the way that the FDA responds to those sort of things. There's a lot of regulations. You got to have $1 billion, basically, Josh, to buy a pharmaceutical.
Exactly.
Don't even get me going there, because it is a little bit upsetting, quite a bit upsetting. But I don't want to go off into that as much here in this session, unless you want to dive into it. But essentially, because this system has so many responsibilities, it prioritizes and it goes to where the most major thing is. I'll give you an example. I had a lady that, she had headaches, and she had another problem that was going on in her intestinal tract. And so she takes the CBD, and she says, well, it didn't do anything for the headaches. But all of a sudden, I started having some regularity with, her sort of dealing with going to the bathroom, essentially.
Yeah, of course.
Dealing with that. She had difficulty there, and so some sort of gut-related problem. I don't know what it was, but that immediately went into alignment for her. Well, right after that, all of a sudden, her headache started going away. So what's going on there? First thing that happened was she had a high priority, and in the endocannabinoid system addressed that, and then it began to move to some of the lower priorities. And so it does go directly to wherever that particular issue is.
Yeah, that's it. And I forgot this, that when I actually first started talking to you, or even texting with you back and forth, the main reason I actually got started with me taking the product was my dog.
Right.
And, that was my first experience. My dog had a tumor that actually ruptured. I'm going to tell a short story because it'll hopefully make sense for some people. A cancerous tumor that ruptured. My wife had been putting essential oils on it and all these different things, and the vet was thinking that the tumor died, and it started to release all of these chemical signals in the body, that cellular death. So he started to vomit rapidly. And then we bring him to when he's at the vet, they found another large tumor and they wanted to get rid of this one that was, visible. So they cut this one out. They said the other one, he may not survive the surgery. So we opted not to do anything for him. But right directly after, we started putting him on hemp oil, a tincture. And within 5 days post surgery, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of medication, but unfortunately we put him on some of the pain medications because he had a 10-inch scar or wound. Yeah. But we were giving him 4 times a day or 3 or 4 times a day, giving him drops of the CBD. And in 5 days, his wound where his surgery was looked like it was 30 days out. And we didn't put anything on the wound, like nothing directly on it. And the vet said, the first thing was, we want to put him to sleep. And I said, no, he's our son. We're going to keep him, as long as he's not going to suffer from it. And,
I'm right there with you.
Fast forward 3 months now, they said he may not even make it a month. He's been taking, he takes fish oil, all these other healthy things, but we've now been on a pretty steady regimen of hemp oil. And, knock on wood here, his body is healing and better at almost 14 and a half years old. People are like, wait, how old is he? He had surgery. He has cancer.
Wow.
He's running around your yard like a knucklehead. And so his experience that I can't ask him how he's doing is, a guy that's surviving with cancer or possibly even healing, which I don't even know because I'm not going to put him through any of the testing. Yeah. And then we end up taking it. So, this has come full circle and I have patients and people taking this and I get all these testimonials and stories like, wow, it's so good. And then the other patients, what should I take it for? I'm like, it's a supplement. Take it like, a supplement. Yeah. Not for a disease or a condition, but it will help with your body healing. Yeah. So
I never get to hear that part of the story, of the 3 months out. Yeah. You kept ordering it for your dog, but you never took, you're so busy. You never took the time to maybe call me or even send me a text. Shame on you to say, hey, my dog's doing better.
Yeah. He's kicking ass. I'll send you a photo later.
Yeah. My dog's family to me. He's my kid and he takes CBD and he's got his pep in his step. That's what I noticed. He does his little racetrack circles around me that he used to do when he was, 8 and 9. And now at 11, he's got it back. He's running around like he's a young dog. It's exciting for me.
No, it's exciting. So, and just for those that are listening, the cannabis or hemp, I apologize. Is it the same plant or is it a different plant?
It is. It's the male plant.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. I just don't want to, go in the wrong direction here for people in their head, but really it's not a bad word, everybody. It's okay.
Cannabis is not a bad word.
It's not a bad word. Yeah. But the way your body, like Peter's saying, if this interacts directly with your central nervous system to kind of regulate and have things happen in a good way, when would be a bad time to take this? Think about it, right?
Yeah.
At what age is it? Then here's a question for you because I don't know this answer yet. And I'm sure I'm going to be asked this question at some point. Is there an age people should or should not take it?
No.
Okay.
In fact, there's been zero reported, in terms of toxicity in the body, zero. Okay. And zero adverse effects. No severe adverse effects whatsoever. We've heard from MCT oil, which is some of the products have a little MCT oil in there to suspend the CBD in. Some people that are not used to the essence of coconut oil can get a little bit of the runs. That's the worst thing I ever heard.
Yeah.
However, we just had the best clinical trial in the history of medicine down in Mexico with 39 children, having 39 kids with seizures, having 39 kids that had a reduction in seizures and 25% it stopped entirely. And that was with a completely THC-free version of our product because Mexico and their cartels are such a problem down there. They didn't want to have anything with THC. And now they've opened it up all the way. This Dr. Garza, it was on the news. You could look this up, but it was a game changer. And that went directly against the pharmaceutical version of CBD, which just failed terribly. And I hate to say that there was some injury involved there with these children using the pharmaceutical version. So messing with this perfect little balanced plant is, in my opinion, bad news. You take it as a botanical, natural extracts. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. I'm glad you, I'm gonna rise against the machine here, but like the pharmaceutical world, I mean, they're really in it just to make money. Unfortunately, they're public companies,
Yes.
and I don't want to like scare people or piss people off, but it may happen. Unfortunately, I apologize if I do, but I don't at the same time, because you know what? Drugs are being taken off the market all the time. They're not natural. God forbid you have an emergency and you need to, have an arm taken off or major surgery of some sort. Fine. We're all for doing what you need to do. But to live, there's no way you can't live on these things. Nature already has everything we need, right? The body has what it needs in it as well. So if we fuel it the right way and take care of it, we could do pretty good, right?
I can get really heavy on this statement. Josh, is, the pharmaceutical industry in many cases has created street legal drug addicts. They're hooked. My sister being one of them, she was on 5 medications. And, she had to wean down off of them. But formerly, in the 22 years of her dealing with her illness, she had seizures as a result of medications, misdiagnosed, fell and hit her head. Then she had chronic headaches. I mean, it was just on and on and on. She had to go to a drug, where to get her off the medication. She'd become addicted to them. This was at about 12 or 13 years into her illness. All these things that she went through. And yet there was natural remedies that she could have, handled things a lot better, but she didn't know. And she's just trusting, that these people are going to give her the right information. And that's the sad part, is a lot of times they just don't even know the right information.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hear these stories like this all the time, and now it's like this huge epidemic of pain pills, right? These opioids that are everywhere in the US. I mean, people are dying left and right. I've seen, and then kids in our neighborhood, I think around the country, are turning to heroin when they can't get their parents or their friends or wherever they're getting these medicines from.
Yeah, Oxycontin.
Yeah,
is the one that leads them into it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's kind of funny and hypocritical to me that like I mentioned the word hemp, and people are like down my throat, like, "Oh my God, really?" And I'm like, "Hold on, anything bad news? And like, anybody ever die from this stuff, or like what's going?" No, not really. But we have people around the country. I mean, we hear it. It's like how many musicians and actors this past year died from it. Right? Crazy stuff. But so let's dive in a little bit. You mentioned this case study with seizures.
Yeah, that was great.
Which is unbelievable. I've never heard it. I'm going to definitely look it up. But is there any other really interesting, because people are going to ask me for the science, for the this, for that, are there resources that people can look for and that are legitimate resources?
Oh, yeah. Published medical journals, over 1,200 with double-blind studies on this. So they can just dig right in through the internet, use the search engine that they're comfortable with to get in there and look it up, and see. So I've done this myself. I've read a couple hundred of these journals, and some are really long, but I kind of scan down to the part that I'm looking for. But very interested stuff out there on each and everything that probably a person would be interested in covering.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be hard pressed to not find a published document on that illness. So let them look, and that's the best way for me to kind of avoid getting into all the medical benefits that are obvious. But remember, we're not curing anything. When you feed the endocannabinoid system, it does what it was meant to do. And I find this as a remarkable synergy between chiropractic and what we're doing here with the CBD and the endocannabinoid system. We're just giving the fuel necessary for a system to do what it was meant to do. Exactly. You're aligning the body to allow the spine and all the signaling to happen. What is it? Subluxation?
Yeah, that's where we use. Yep.
Right. And so by removing those roadblocks, the body begins to heal and do things. It's amazing. To me, I've been taking advantage of chiropractic since a fairly early surfer. And at that time, it was really getting a bad rap. Like, oh, God, they're just a bunch of crackpots over there, those chiropractors, right? And I'm not going, man, I feel better when I go to the chiropractor. And so my mom always supported it. We've always thought that way, But I've watched it take its turn and then eventually become part of our insurance system and, to where people could get reimbursed and recommendations from courts saying you need to go to a chiropractor, if you get in a car accident. That would have never happened back, So we're seeing this evolution or this stigma that people have about certain things. Anybody that does the due diligence, does their own research on what we're talking about here, dig in, guys, because you can get really granular. You look at it from 100,000 feet and you see, wow, there's remarkable things happening. But when you dig in, it goes deep. There's lots of information out there, and it's very reliable.
Yeah.
In fact, the U.S. government has a patent in 2004 stating, cannabidiol is neuroprotectants, anti-inflammatories, anti-Alzheimer's, anti-Parkinson's. It's all written right there in their patent that they did absolutely nothing with in 2004. But you know what's exciting? They issued a couple of licenses to pursue the work of a Nobel Prize winning doctor named Dr. Julian Axelrod. And to continue that work, those first licenses, they were issued through one of the companies that we work with. And so they've been continuing the study that was by this amazing doctor right there. And so it's not stuffed down anymore. And we brought this out into the open, and we're doing it every single day. Yeah, it's exciting.
How cool is that? Yeah. So I mentioned performance form, you mentioned conditions. Is there anything like off the top of your head that you've heard with athletes taking CBDs?
Well, there's a tremendous amount of research as a neuroprotectant. And so I know the NFL has not recognized it. But then again, if the NFL was to recognize it, then they might have back suits, right? Sued from people that said, hey, my brain's messed up because you didn't care enough. So I think they're always going to stay, at least for the unforeseeable future, in sort of this denial stage of saying that we even have an issue with athletes having brain trauma or brain injury. But we see it every day. You see it every day. There's so many athletes that lives are just destroyed because they were taking all these blows to their head and not having, the correct protection.
Yeah.
And so what CBD is noted to do with the endocannabinoid system is created an additional helmet. And again, you can look this stuff up, go research it.
Okay, very
It
cool.
talks about an additional layer over the brain protecting it. So kids can greatly benefit this through sports, athletes. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I've got athletes on it right now, race car drivers and football players and other people that are just raving about what's happening for them personally. So it's quite remarkable on the brain protection side. There's a great study out of UCLA with dramatic brain injury. And it was remarkable that all the people that had a serious injury that had used cannabidiol, even at the quote unquote marijuana level, but cannabidiol or any of this sort, and getting that CBD into the system, there was a 50% reduction in the effect of what happened from the brain injury, and it was the only thing that they could apply it to was the fact that these individuals were cannabis users, and these individuals weren't. And so I think and they did a whole study on it. And again, you can look this stuff up.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear what kind of comments we're going to get on our show from our listeners, because I know we have a really open group, and I can't wait to hear like the positive, and hopefully we can spread the word more, because you know what, the companies like Innate hemp oil, I mean, they need to grow, because we need more people off medications. We need more people living their lives, not kind of just getting by and then take a pill when they want to, feel better, feel worse, whatever, an up and a down and a left and a right, whatever it may be. So I'm amped for your company. I think it's going to the moon. I hope.
It really is. It's an exciting time too, because people are tired of being lied to. Everything that I do, I just open hands, transparent. I'll give you a tip right here with CBD. It's the greatest thing I've learned. And that is that just increase the serving size till you get the desired result. I tell you, that statement right there alone. I see individuals that, Guy, I had, this was going on with me, and I didn't really get the effect I wanted. I'd say increase the serving size. And all of a sudden they call me and they say, wow, I'm feeling a lot better. Interesting enough that as you do that over a period of time, you can begin to reduce the serving size back down, because the body retrains. Kind of like if you keep adjusting someone, and eventually kind of got a memory there, right?
Yeah.
And so when the body gets in homeostasis and you're working that muscle, right? That muscle in the body, meaning that it's working with that particular thing, it has a memory to it. And that memory continues on. And I see people constantly, like my sister, she was at 150 milligrams a day. on CBD, right? That's 150 milligrams a day. She's down to 50. Okay. And she's getting the same effect at 50, but she went 4 or 5 months at 150 milligrams. And then she went several months at 100. And now she's just clocked down to 50. That's great for her. 50 is a great maintenance serving size right there. So if the listeners are wondering on that, what a great serving size. I take 100 a day because I like to be double covered. But
nice.
It's like if 50 is good, 100 is better, right?
Yeah.
But I love it. I take it in the morning. I take it before bed. I take the green Innate before bed, and I take the gold in the morning. That's what I do.
That's awesome. So
yeah.
So if we're gonna give, this is a really unique podcast. I haven't done anything like this yet about about CBDs and this version of health. I usually like to ask the person I'm interviewing to give a couple of gold nuggets. I feel you've given a bunch of different ones. So one, yes, we think people should definitely start taking CBDs, right? Just as a nutritional supplement, as a daily supplement, regardless of age, regardless of pain, regardless of condition. If you have a condition or something, you may want to take more, learn more so you can take more. But is there anything else you think that the listeners should know that maybe they can take a positive action step with alongside with the CBD? I don't even know where to go with it. I'm trying to figure it out.
I gave you that one gold nugget there in terms of serving size, but if you look up CBD or hemp, you'll find that the omega-3 ratio is absolutely flawless. Okay, so it's a perfect ratio of omega-3 oils, and so it's like at the top of the list. It has protein. I take hemp hearts too. I blend them in shakes.
Okay, yeah, we take them too.
So, yeah. And so, if they're shelled, they're actually also a great source of fiber as well. The shell has tremendous fiber benefits in it too. So the entire plant is absolutely amazing. But this nice balance of these oils in the body and the immediate, I would say, noticeable effect. I'll challenge the listeners. Anybody that takes CBD for 30 days straight, you come back and report to us, because it's been a slam dunk. I mean, every person I come in contact with, it's been a remarkable thing. And the ones that said, hey, they hadn't done anything, all I did is increase their serving. Now, I will tell you, on the other side, if something's a genetic thing in the body, you have some sort of a genetic disorder, that's where it can fall short, because these are things that you're generationally passing on, and so that's not to say it hasn't helped people in that area, but it's the only time I've ever seen it not work is when there was something that was passed on through the family, and it's the way it is, sort of thing, something that's just in the mechanism of their action in their body, But other than that, it's been just each and every person. I mean, what a great job I have to get text messages every day, emails every day, people calling me. I had a doctor chiropractor that's retired up in Petaluma area around Santa Rosa. And he had actually given his chiropractic business to his daughter, who took it over, and she became a chiropractor. And she orders through Billy Demoss. But he calls to tell me, I can't believe how good I'm feeling today. My wrist doesn't hurt anymore. And if you ever need to have me on a call, invite me in. So if we want to do another podcast and invite Dr. Gary on, he can tell you his personal testimony on what's happening. It's been a life changer for him. His knees are bad. His wrist is bad. He's got pain here, pain there. And he's just like this guy that's just, he can't believe what's happening in his body. This has nothing to do with the disease state. It has to do with just physical pain and discomfort over years and years of doing what he did. Getting up there. I guess you guys work pretty hard at cracking and pulling and all that. And it just it's worn him down. He's in his 70s. But, that's the kind of life that I have today. And, if you care about other people, you owe it to yourself to really dive in and look at the deep, robust research on it. And, I'm happy to answer any questions regarding the relationship between hemp and marijuana and what those differences are and why it's so important to understand that. We can get into that maybe on another podcast too.
Oh, totally.
Or whenever you want to. I'll cover anything you want to cover.
Yeah, great. You know what? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to say this now, that we're going to do a Facebook Live. We'll do it through our Lifestyle Locker Facebook page, and we'll set a date after the call And I'll put it in the show notes as well when we release the podcast so people can find it and then even search for it. So we'll go over the differences between, cannabis and hemp, right? That's what we just said.
Yeah.
Like the scientific
differences.
differences.
No, cannabis they're all cannabis.
Okay.
They're all cannabis.
Okay.
Marijuana and hemp.
Marijuana and hemp. Got it. Yeah. See, there we go. So I'm going to learn this. I'm going to learn too.
Yeah. Female plant is the marijuana. Male plant is the hemp.
Okay. But we're going to get deeper than that.
Yeah. Much deeper.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. So Peter, thank you so much. I want to thank you. The listeners want to thank you. This is a great call. Very educational. I get to learn quite a bit on calls like this. I know, everyone. You want to make sure you get your Innate CBD very soon, and we will have the links up for you to connect and buy and learn more about this insanely high-quality product. I've been using it. Like I said, my dog has been using it. My wife uses it. It's a great product. It's very clean. The benefits are awesome. And you know what? There's going to be more to learn. You're going to hear part 2 of this podcast where we're going to dive a little bit deeper into a little bit of the science. And I can't wait to learn a little more. I'm sure you will. So until next time, Locker Nation, stay connected at lifestylelocker.com. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.